Should we do this then? This is Tentricks. It's a Tetromino game set in a cyberpunk, futuristic, alternative universe, whatever you so want it to be. But is it any good? Let's find out and let's see how it plays. Okay guys, so here we are set up for a game of Tentricks. I have one player board in front of me. It's already part way through the game, as you can see. You can just imagine there'll be a few of these boards dotted about the table. On my turn, for example, the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be drawing a card that tells me the piece that I must place this turn. Now we've got a pink 3, so when I'm placing, I have to place it from wherever this bar is at the time. I get to orientate it before I place it down. So for example, I'm going to place it down here, and then it attaches onto the top of that one there. I can then move it down. The ruling of moving it while it's going down is I can move it left or right one space, but only once. So if I was to do that, for example, that's a bad idea because now I've obviously left a big gap. Whereas I could do that and move it across one and continue down. I've still left a gap. It's probably not a wise idea, so I'll just stick to where I was. That's my final placement. I didn't cover any icons underneath, so that would be the end of that. If, however, I was to play this one, down here, I'm going to be covering this symbol as I go down. So as I do that, that's absolutely fine. It means I get to draw a tile or a bonus tile from the bag here, which then gets placed on my board. I can only ever hold 4 of these at one time. Those will be, I will cover in just a second. So that will be placement sorted. If at any point, like I did there, I have completed a row, which means I get to move my bar up one space. If I complete multiple rows, I get to move it up that many spaces. Three rows in one turn enables me to pick a tetromino piece from the supply and place it here in my personal pile ready for the next turn instead of having to draw a card. If I do 4 in one turn, I get to do that and draw an extra bonus tile from the bag. That's very, very powerful indeed. So then we move on to the third thing, which is playing my effects tokens. That's what these are, my bonus tokens here. There are some of these that will affect other players. If I play one of them onto another player, I resolve the effect, which is explained on the back of the player aid card. This then flips over and sits at the bottom of their board with a nice big shiny padlock there, and that is to signify that they cannot be attacked until the start of their next turn. At the start of their turn, that will be removed and placed back into the bag. There are some in the game which have these purple backs with a little bin on them. These are a one-hit wonder. They're very, very powerful. So if you use those, you then immediately remove it from the game completely. As I said, once these ones are completed, they go back into the bag. That is then the end of your turn. Player moves on to the next player. They would then reveal the cards, and eventually you will find you come to this card here. When this card is revealed, every single player has their bar moved down by 1. If it hits anything on its way down, you are eliminated and out of the game. If at any point you cannot play a tetromino piece without touching this, you are out of the game. Once this has been revealed, you would then shuffle the entire deck back together and then place this in the deck to the specified amount. It really depends on how many players you have and how difficult you want the game to be. For example, I would have it set up, it goes into the 10th space, for example. And that is basically how you play Tentricks. It's quite a simple game to understand. Everything you need really is explained on these player aids, which are incredibly good. But let's jump over now to have a quick look at these close up for the component quality. Okay guys, so here we are back with our component little review. I'll have a quick look at the rulebook here. Let's flip that over so you guys can see it a bit better. The artwork on this is actually quite nice indeed. The rulebook is very well laid out. I will say it's all very simple. There's a perfect example of a 4-player game there. It breaks down everything you need to do very nicely within the game. And yeah, I can't really complain anything about this rulebook. There is a solo mode at the end there for those solo gamers as well. So no complaints from me with regards to the rulebook. Again, not a big fan of these big rulebooks really for such easy games. It could easily be a little A5 rulebook, but that's minor niggles. The actual board itself is a dual layer board, which is awesome because it does mean that when you have got your tetromino pieces in there, they are locked in place to a degree. Obviously, at the top it's going to move about, but it is nice. It feels good. It means these bonus tiles fit in there nicely as well. You can keep the stuff here ready for your next turn. It's not going to impede on your game board at all. One complaint I would have really for the base game is all of the boards are exactly the same, with the bonus tiles all in the same locations. In my Kickstarter version I did actually get some of these inserts which can be placed in here, which add a level of asymmetric play, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that is part of the retail release or not, but this definitely adds to the replay value of the game. I hope it is included. Other than that, though, we're talking basic stuff really. The card stock, the art styling is pretty nice. You know, we've got that sort of cyberpunk-esque colour scheme on this, and the tetromino pieces themselves. They are quite nice. Let's try and give you an even closer look at that. You know, when I sort of look at the game board or the box, for example, they're shown to be glowing. I think maybe these would have been a bit better if they'd been maybe acrylic pieces. That might have stood out and just given me that final bit of quality that I'm looking for. But I think really, as sad as it sounds, the standout piece for me is indeed this player aid, because it breaks down your turn sequence perfectly. It tells you when and where the effects tokens can be used depending on what colour they are. And then finally, every single effects token is there on the back explained in detail. And if that's not enough, there is a whole page in this rulebook that explains what each of those tokens do. So component wise, I'm very happy. I can't really say there's anything wrong with it, other than maybe a little bit of quality would have been nice if we'd gone for acrylics pieces instead. Finally, I will mention there is indeed a box insert in this game. Not a big fan of it because all of these pieces are loose in here and you have to separate all these out at the start of the game for ease of play, but other than that it's quite nice. It fits in there alright. But yeah, if you're going to store anything other than horizontally, these are going to be coming out everywhere. And that's my component quality. Now back to the face cam to talk about our final thoughts. Okay guys, so that is the how to play, and that's a little look at the components that come in the game of Tentricks. Now, this is a game that I originally backed on Kickstarter. It was either a year or 2 years ago, can't remember how long ago it was. But yeah, it was part of my sort of, I really must back absolutely everything era of things, and to be honest, Tetris would have been something that stood out to me. So that would be why I backed this game, and I don't really regret backing it, if I'm honest. There's some pretty good quality components in here. I like the dual layer of the player boards here. The pieces are quite nice. You know, the gameplay isn't bad either. The thing is, though, the game just isn't what I'd hoped it would be, if I'm honest. I enjoy the game, sure, but there's certain things that are wrong about it, okay? Player elimination, I've never liked player elimination, I never will like player elimination. Kind of works in the game, but at the same time, if you get out really early on, that's it, game over, you're done until the others are finished, and that could be a while. As for the component wise, you know, these pieces, they're pretty good. Don't get me wrong, they are pretty good. I was hoping really for, you know, this cyberpunk-esque thing. I was hoping for a bit more, you know, appearance of like glowing, if you like, because obviously on the box they're very, very clearly very Tron-esque, whereas the actual ones that we've got here, obviously they're punchboard. There's not a great deal they can do about it, but you know, they just don't quite invoke that sort of cyberpunk, everything flashing and dancing that you would expect. So that's a bit of a shame. Maybe if they had been clear acrylics, that would have been kind of cool, or even similar quality to the likes of Project L, for example. They would work nicely in this as well. The unique point of this game, though, is of course those bonus tiles, and as you cover them, you get those bonus tiles. It's quite cool to add that, sort of take that element into it, or the ability to boost your own board as well. That's pretty good. Is it enough for me to really want to get down and dirty and play with this game a lot? Probably not. And if I'm honest, is it the most Tetris game I want to play? That is Tetris Link. This is an official game. It is basically, it's a 3D version of Tetris. You get this nice 3D tower in it. It has a nice table presence, always drags people to the table. But most importantly, we have acrylic pieces. These, if anything, they look a bit more shiny than the ones that are supposed to be in a cyberpunk game are. You know, this one's as simple as, in this one you're rolling a dice, it tells me what one I'm going to be slotting into the Tetris board, whereas obviously in Tentricks it's the cards that's determining that. That's not a bad thing, I don't mind that, but the truth is, when I play Tetris Link, I get this game done in about 10 minutes. A game of Tentricks is substantially longer than that. It's actually a much bigger investment of my time. And I just don't have that for a game of Tetris, unfortunately. Do I like Tentricks? Yes, I do, 100%. Is it going to stay in my collection? It's going to stay in the collection for at least the foreseeable future. It's not a keeper, it's not a lifer, but it's not a bad game. It's just not what I wanted it to be. What did I really want a game with Tetris pieces to be? I can't tell you that. But I wanted it to be just a little bit more than it was. And that's a real shame. So do I recommend the game? If you could pick this up cheap enough, sure, go for it. You'll get a few plays out of it, you'll probably sell it on. Much the same as I'm sure I will at some point. But other than that, it's not worth going out of your way for. If it's going to be an expensive game, it's not worth it. These extra boards that they included for asymmetric play, these make the game far more enjoyable, but I'm pretty certain that these are not included when you get a retail version. And that, I think, is a very big mistake, because replay value on this game with the retail version, it just isn't there. It's just not there. I'm sorry, guys. Really, really nice game, an idea, I guess, but, you know, it is what it is. It is Tetris with a little bit of take that. There are better games out there for your money. If you can play it, would I recommend playing it? Hell yeah, go out and play it. Fantastic. Someone's already got it, go and play it. It's good fun. I really wouldn't go out of your way to buy this game. So there you go. That is my final thoughts on Tentricks. Let me know what you think. If you managed to play it, let me know down in that comment section down the bottom. And of course, now I have to do that YouTube thing. If you did enjoy this video, there's a like button. Give it a like. There's a subscribe button. Give it a subscribe. We're going to be doing far more video content soon. And of course, use that comment section as much as you possibly can. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm and us helping to grow this channel to extreme heights of world domination. Or just a few hundred of you. That'd be great as well. Till next time, my name has been Jason. You have been watching The Meeple Minded. We'll see you for the next one.